Happy New Year, everybody. Boyd back with you, and we're here with another update on our MPC Space 1999 Moonbase Alpha build. And hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve. We had a big old fireworks show here in our neighborhood. San Antonio goes crazy for fireworks every year, so we had a blast watching that. After that was all over last night, we came out here and worked on this for a little while, and I'm making really good progress, you guys. You can see I've got most of my basic painting and construction done here on the base itself. Things are coming along really good. I finally got all the little seams taken care of, all my texture added. I've put a few basic colors on here, so I wanted to get you guys caught up with what we're working on. So far, I've got all 5 of the Eagle launch pads put in place, and they're glued down, and they've been all the light leaks fixed on them, and everything worked out really good there. I'm starting to put lighting in them now. As I showed you guys in that last video, this has those little round holes molded into it, and I was originally going to use those to glue this thing down, but what I did is I wound up shortening them up a little bit, because those holes, it's almost like somebody intended on lighting this kit, because I can't think of any other reason why those holes are perfectly located underneath of all the areas that you would expect to put lighting in. And so for the launch pads, a little 5mm white LED directly underneath, put in the center of that little peg that sticks down there. I basically shortened it up by about half, and then I just took a piece of flat styrene and glued it onto it and drilled a hole in the center of it to fit the LED pointing straight up, and that's working out great. So all those are done. That's going to look really, really cool. We're going to turn the lights on here in a second and show you how things are going. I'm starting to work these buildings in here now, and what I'm going to be doing is doing these, one at a time. And what I've got to do is I've got to, glue them down. I'm using CA glue mixed with a little bit of baking powder, actually, to give it a little bit of a fill. And I'm, taking a toothpick and putting it around the edges and then sticking them down and holding them there to get them as flat as I possibly can. The little problem you have with this kit is that no matter what you do, you're going to have little small imperfections on the surface here. It's, a really rough textured surface, so you're going to have tiny little gaps. And so the CA glue helped fill in some of that, but what I'm doing to take care of the rest of it, I wanted to show you guys, I'm using plaster, and I'm mixing it really thin and using my little syringe tool here. I've got to really be careful, because I've only got a few minutes to work with this before it starts to harden. So I can only do a couple at a time, but I go around these edges here, inject that plaster into the seam, and then come back with a Q-tip and kind of smooth it out. Now, the nice thing about this is I didn't really want to have this, little detail on here, but when I go and look at the TV show, all these buildings had like little mounds of moon dirt piled up against the sides, and some of it was like really small rocks, and some of it was just mounds of dirt. So that's actually going to look realistic when we get this done, and I'll add a little bit of texture to it. I'm coming back in, and I'll be doing my airbrush painting, masking these off, and then airbrush painting and getting this all blended back in. I kind of wish I would have waited for my painting now that I did this, but it's going to work out fine in the end. But that's working out really good, because that plaster dries in a matter of minutes, and then I can come back with a Q-tip or a brush with some water, and I can kind of smooth it out or manipulate it, and it doesn't totally break down where I lose my entire gasket that I made. And I'm just kind of going back and forth. Now, every once in a while, I see a tiny little light leak on the top of one of these buildings, so I'll just come back and touch it up a little bit until I get it to go away. Once we get this all done and all figured out and everything's all laid in place, I'll come back and seal coat this whole thing with a coat of dull coat, so there's some spots on it that look a little bit glossy still. But you can see I added the nice little rocks and texture on it here and there and built it all up. These little lines that you still see here are where the little travel tubes go. So that's all going to look really cool. That'll add even more detail to this. But it's working out really awesome, you guys. You can see we got one of the eagles on the pad there. I'll go over to the side here, and I'll shut down the lights, and we'll come back here with a shot and show you how this looks in low light. I think you're going to like what you see, guys. Be right back. All right, you guys, well, here's a look at how our Moonbase is looking in some low light. And you can see that once I get this all finished up and I get some proper lighting on this, where I can cast a little bit of shadow and get some down lighting on it, get my filtering just right, this is going to start looking a lot like the original filming miniature, you guys. Here's a look at the little windows that we're doing on our buildings. This one here has been done and totally light blocked. This one over here, it's got a little bit of leaks around the base that I'm still cleaning up with the methods that I talked about. Here's how the launch pads are going to look. and you can see that I've got those lights in there looking a little bit more bold and dynamic, like they should be, just to kind of stick out a little bit more. I even went ahead and did the little windows on the sides. You can see in the docking port there that I saw that were on the TV show. This one here in the back might show up a little bit better. There it is. But you can see that with the shadowing here and all the texturing we've added, this is really going to look cool. Let me try to get you like a kind of a low profile shot. And you can see it's going to look a lot like it did on the original TV screen. Once we get it all, can you imagine this is going to look really cool with this whole thing all lit up like that? And I'm really looking forward to moving forward on it. Now this is going to be really tedious. What I'm doing is I'm having to do one building at a time, like I said, because even though you can faintly see where the buildings are supposed to go when you set them down, you find yourself going back and micro adjusting these things to get the spacing exactly right and, you know, get it looking like it should. I keep constantly referencing the pictures on the box art. And so that means that I have to glue these down one at a time and make sure when I do place it that it's exactly where I want it to be. And what's going to happen is it's going to start getting tighter and tighter as I get in here. But I'm using this little fine tip, you know, on my to apply my plaster seal around the edges. So I should be able to get down in between all these gaps and get that all taken care of. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how it's all looking so far. And I think it's going to be really spectacular when it's done. I hope you guys agree. I'm having a blast working on this. This was just a crazy idea that I had, and I didn't even know for sure if it was going to work or not. But I think in the end, this thing's going to look really cool. And when we get all of our other stuff combined with it and everything in the end, I was just talking to Jerry at HDA the other night about some more detail on the base, and we're coming to some conclusions on that. So we'll have more for that for you guys soon. But thanks for checking this out, you guys. I really appreciate the positive comments and everything, and the encouragement. This is, you know, kind of a crazy idea here, but it's working out really, really good. So I hope you guys have a great 2022. Build lots of models. I'm really excited about all the stuff we're going to work on here this year.